Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sister. The translation of the message that she sent to me, it reads like this. I was born and raised in Soshanguve, and that place, you know that the hustle is real. People, they do whatever it takes to survive. I grew up watching other kids that I was going to school with because I went to a private school. My parents, they really wanted me to have a good education, but it was just that I just wanted money. I never focused in school, but when I was still at school, most of my friends, they were like coming from rich families, and I would see them enjoying life, living their lives lavishly, and I knew that was the life that I wanted. And by my late 30s, I had a small business, always hustling. I hated working for any man because I had told myself that you can never get rich by working for someone else. So I was always pushing, and I had a small business, but it was barely enough to get by. I wanted more, much more. And that was when I said, how about if I try to use some charms on my business? The first time that I had ever used charms, it was on this other woman. So this woman, I wanted her to give me a good business deal. So I went to this other Sangoma, who then gave me some charms, and I was able to win over that woman. For only a short period of time, we were in love, but it seemed as if the charms, they expired. When I returned back to that Sangoma to renew the charms, she gave me more charms to use in my Nivea lotion, as well as when I will be bathing. But the woman then told me that she did not love me. She did not even understand how she had ended up being in bed with me in the first place, because I was not her type. So that was when I said, maybe if I try to use these charms in business, maybe it can be better. So to me, this was sounding more like a fairy tale, me becoming someone who is a ritualist. That was when I met another man who changed my whole life. Everything changed. It was in 2019 when I was introduced to a Sangoma in Durban. We traveled there, and I was hoping that I was going to be able to get answers to all of my struggles. The Sangoma's hut, it was in a secluded part of a village called Name Hidden. When I got to his compound, that was when I felt something that felt unnatural. That was when our chance came. We then went into the consultation hut, and I was told that the man could grant me wealth, but I had to make some sacrifices in my life. So I was prepared for everything, because on Facebook I had done most of my research there. Most of the people that were talking about their Ngathwala initiation rituals, they had sacrificed using animals. But then when I was speaking with him, that was when the man said that the spirits said that they required something that was much more closer, my own bloodline, my seed. That was what was needed. I was horrified, but at the same time, I said, what am I supposed to do? Must I return back to Jersey with nothing? That was when I said it is far much better that I do whatever he was going to ask me to do. He said that if I used my own son, I was going to get a lot of money. I hesitated, but in that moment, that was when I told myself that it was time to become brave and to become a man. And I then agreed that it was far much better for my son to be sacrificed. We returned back to Soshanguve, and I then went and I saw my son. My son was staying with my baby mama at her parents' house. And when I looked at my son, I really felt so bad. And I had been told that I was supposed to bring back Kavelo, not his real name, back to Durban. This was the following week. So I told my baby mama that there were things that I needed to be done there in Durban. So she said it was fine. At that time, my son Kavelo was only 12 years old. So we went with him. We arrived at the Sangoma's place late at night. We were given a place to sleep. The things that I saw the spiritual world, it is very real. So in the other room where we were sleeping, like, electricity is not allowed there, even your mobile phones. We were told that we were not supposed to switch on our mobile phones because throughout the night the ritual was going to start, and my son Kavelo, he was going to be introduced to the ritual on that night. So I had been instructed on how I was supposed to sleep. So whilst we were sleeping in that room, it was me, my other friend, and then with my son. So my son was the one who was sleeping in the middle. After he had fallen asleep, we had been told that we were supposed to change the way that we were sleeping. So me and my friend, the way that we were sleeping, we had our heads towards the door, and my son, he was facing the other way. This was done in a way that the spirits, when they would enter the room, they would know who was my son, who was the sacrifice that I was offering to them. Late at night, that was when I had my friend, he was waking me up and he was really scared. He pointed at the roof. That was when we saw a snake. We saw this snake in the dark inside that room, even though we did not have any light at all. But the moment that we saw the snake, there was light. We do not know where it came from. The snake then climbed down the wall and it went to where my son was sleeping, and it then started licking him all over his body, and it just disappeared. The following day, my son, he was given some food, but inside that food there were some charms. We returned back, and when we returned back to Soshanguve, my son was really sick. He was weak for days and days. I pretended as if I did not even know what was happening. After my son had started to feel so weak and to get so sick, the following week, that was when I started to make money and I got a really big contract. My son, after 2 months, that was when he passed away. I was told to hold on a little bit. I was not supposed to buy a house or to purchase a flashy car until after everyone would have forgotten about my son. I waited until it was in 2020. That was when I purchased my first very beautiful car, and then I moved out of the location, and then I started staying at this other suburb. Later on, that was when I came to the place where I am staying right now. But there have been things that have been happening. Sometimes I do see my son, so I have been given this other charm. It is just like a root of a tree. I don't know what type of a tree it is. So whenever I see the spirit of my son, I take it. Then I'll start to curse my son, telling him to go and rest with his ancestors, so that at least I can make money. And after I would have made money, then I can have kids that are going to inherit my wealth. So whenever I am holding that charm that was given to me, my son will just disappear. It seems as if the spirits, they are afraid of the charm that was given to me. I am making money, but there are times when I am sober, when I start to question the things that I did, sacrificing my own boy, my only seed, for money. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister who helped us with this translation. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.